All right, let's bring in Avis Jones de Weaver now. She's a race relations expert, CEO of the Exceptional Leadership Institute for Women. Avis, thanks for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Pretty eye-opening for us to watch that last night, and we're Canadian. So what was it like for you as an American to watch this happen? And there were kids chanting that.
It's not surprising, unfortunately, for anyone who does not want to deny our history. We've seen this in American history quite often. I felt like, quite frankly, I was watching a Klan rally. And for this president to act as if he has zero culpability for it is complete fiction. And once again, him not living up to the chaos and the danger that he causes others by pointing his finger at his minions when actually he's at the root of that evil that's been uncovered.
Avis, what about all the other Republicans? Why aren't we hearing from more of them? Why aren't they saying they don't accept this?
It's because in America, it's all about protecting white people's feelings. I'm just going to be very frank with you. It's about white fragility. It's about doing everything possible not to offend whiteness and preferencing that over confronting the truth and specifically facing the harsh fact that we quite frankly have millions of people in this country that are racist and that are dangerous. We've had a huge increase in the rise of hate groups in this nation. This Congresswoman specifically has had a number of death threats hurled at her. This is not a time to be cowardice in terms of confronting the truth. We need to confront the evil that we have in this nation, even when that evil has a white face.
I want to get back to confronting it in a moment, but I do want to ask you, I think I already know your answer, but have Americans always been this divided, or are you seeing a rise in numbers who hold this sentiment?
I think what's happened is that we have gone through different waves in our culture in terms of the level of social acceptability for being able to be very overt in one's beliefs when they are intolerant. And we are in a moment right now in which the culture, and led by a president who is the leading sort of racist in chief, has given the go-ahead for people who have been sort of held back, in a sense, in more recent years with regards to not feeling as if it would be socially acceptable for them to be overt in their racism, to now feel perfectly free to be as overt and vile and dangerous and violent as they want to be, knowing that the type of consequences that would come to any others that would engage in that behavior will not happen to them.
Are there there are laws against hate speech, but in your mind, does what was said last night cross into hate speech?
Here's what it is. I don't necessarily think it's hate speech per se, but what I do believe it's a dangerous mob mentality that is being fed by someone who lacks a moral center. And someone also, I think it's very important to point out that when he was called on it, like most cowardice bullies, he did not accept responsibility for his actions. He did not say anything that he did. He pointed the fingers at the people who are merely just sort of restating what he just tweeted over the weekend. And so what I think is important for us to realize is that this can get out of control. As I mentioned, she has had to have FBI protection in the past because of the number of death threats against her. And as this president continues to go on his tirade and continue to sort of rally up a crowd like this, and unlike what he said that he tried to stop them. No, he didn't. He stood back and he let a pregnant pause inject into his speech where he let them continue this chant. Listen, I'm a professional speaker. I know what you do when you create applause lines. You say something and you pause because you want the crowd to react. That's exactly what he wanted to have happen, and now he's not man enough to admit it.
So how do you counter?
Well, I think what's critically important is that the Democrats sort of grow a backbone here and actually say what's going on here and really sort of fight back. The problem is that he goes through and does all of these things that rouse up a very dangerous element in this nation. And the Democrats are kind of very intellectual about this issue. And they're not going to win this fight by writing position papers or even having great discussions on the House floor. They're going to win this fight. They have to win this fight in the court of public opinion by talking to the American people and really sort of laying down the gauntlet that this is not the America that we want to be. No, I'm not going to say this is un-American because we do have a history of this in America, but we are an aspirational nation, and this is not the America that we want. They need to paint a vision for a better future, but at the same time, not turn a blind eye towards the danger that we are facing right in the here and now.
Avis, thanks for your time. Thanks for weighing in on this. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.